This episode of the We Like Shooting Show is brought to you by Second Call Defense, Manticore Arms, the Sonoran Desert Institute, Facts and Firearms, the Patriot Patch Company, and Brownells.
Welcome to the We Like Shooting Show, episode 298. Tonight we're going to talk about CGS Group, Polymer 80, SIG Mag Mods, Low Light Shooting, AWR Hawkins, and more. Our panel tonight is the Knob Goblin Savage 1R. Very shortly we'll have River's Edge Tacticals, Jeremy Paz, Derek. The Machine Gun Moses, Aaron Krieger's here. The newest panelist is back one more time. Nick Lynch is by my side. My name's Sean Heron, and I want to welcome you to the show. All right, Aaron, what's up?
Hello.
Aaron, you're quiet.
Knob Goblin, really?
Yeah. What is that? What's a Knob Goblin, Savage? Okay.
I don't want to say.
Well, go ahead. It's okay. It's not like it's a family show or anything.
That's fair.
Manson family.
Before we do anything else, let's talk about Manticore Arms. Nick, tell Aaron one thing he doesn't know about Manticore Arms.
Aaron, did you know that once upon a time, Manticore Arms made some really awesome denim jackets?
Oh.
I've seen video evidence of that. Mm-hmm. But Nick, did you know that Manticore Arms was once known as Arms de Manticoro from Mexico?
I did not know that.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true, but it's pretty great. So I will say that CZ, someone at CZ was walking down the street in Indianapolis at the NRA annual meetings and just happened to see somebody drive by with a Manticore Arms denim vest on, riding a scooter at top speed, and took a picture of it and showed it to Sven, and it was Nick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was a pretty fun thing that happened. But as far as their products go, lots of great stuff over there. Transformer Rail is one of our absolute favorite things, so you can find more about it at manticorearms.com, and coupon code is WLS10 for 10% off all day, every day. Aaron?
Yes, Sean.
Are you drinking tonight?
I am.
What are you drinking?
I had this 2-liter of Diet Coke.
Get out of here.
I just have like a third liter.
All right, we've got a drinking game. So anytime that I say interesting, so basically nice or dang, every time that Aaron says bi-curious, suggests that registration does not lead to confiscation or interrupt somebody. Every time Jeremy says kill yourself, call Savage a commie, or sniffle, spits, or hate breathes into the mic. Every time Nick says something insightful, says something that no one laughs at, or any time that Savage mentions Reddit, mispronounces a sponsor, Washington, or a gun of the poors, we want you to take a drink safely, clearly. And Aaron, I think you're going to be okay with the soda tonight.
I don't know. The aspartame, man, could kill me.
Somebody's going to be drinking a lot tonight.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
We already ran out.
It's a gun of the poors. I knew it was going to happen. All right, guys. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest, as always. He's a Second Amendment columnist for Breitbart News, PhD from Texas Tech. Please welcome AWR Hawkins. How's it going, man?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Glad to have you here. So I had you on This Week in Guns not too long ago, and I said, hey, do you want to come on a show that is nothing like this and we're all crazy? And you said yeah, so we're glad you're here.
Good to be here.
What's the PhD in?
Military history.
Okay.
Focus on the Vietnam War.
That's
very cool.
That's actually pretty dang awesome. What made you decide to get a PhD in that?
It was just a chain of events, really. I started to I got my bachelor's, and after I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, because you can't do anything with a bachelor's in history, really. And while I was getting my master's, professor took me under his arm, his wing, so to speak, and said, look, you need to go on and do your PhD. Okay, I'll do it. So I went to Tech and had no idea really what I was going to study, and met the guy who set up Texas Tech's Cold War Studies Department. And he had done 2 brownwater campaigns in Vietnam and then carried the secret attaché case for NATO. And he pulled me in and said, you're going to be with me. And that was that. And it worked out great.
That's pretty awesome. When did you start writing for Breitbart before or after you graduated with the PhD?
About a year after. I didn't start school till late. I didn't graduate with a PhD till 2009. I started writing for Breitbart in 2010, so I've been there about 9 years.
Awesome.
Do you make all your friends call you doctor?
No, but some do. They call me Doc. Some of them call me names that even on this show I can't say.
You'd be surprised.
There's a variety of names, but yeah. I taught in the university for a while in the A&M system and the Oklahoma State system. And, of course, people call me doctor in that setting. But in this setting, rarely happens, to be honest with you.
That's fair, because all of us are uncultured swine, I think, is the reason for that.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. It's just,
Well, you're probably the first
No, I
doctor I
did.
ever met that didn't try to stick your finger in my butt, so I'm kind of really excited.
yeah, well,
yeah.
of that happening, but don't let me put eye drops in your eye.
You got to tell that story. So before the show, he's like, hey, I'm going to step away. I got some allergies. I'm looking for some eye drops. What happened?
Well, I grabbed the first thing eye drops I saw, and it resembled the thing I saw this morning. But this morning, my eyes were watering so bad, I couldn't really see it very clear. So the same situation here, and put it in my eye, and turns out that it was some kind of acid for ears. It was an eardrop kind of deal. And it immediately set me on fire. And, as I said to you all then, I still can't believe you didn't hear me screaming. I was just running through here trying to find relief.
Oh, man, that's terrible. I don't know why we're laughing. We're awful people.
Well, it's kind of funny, really, at this point.
It's pretty great. How'd you start writing for Breitbart? What was that process like?
Well, I'll just say there was an individual. I was doing some ad hoc writing at Human Events, American Thinkers, some different places. And there was an individual who read some writing I did on, Fast and Furious. And he emailed me and said, I just want you to know some of the best writing I've seen on Fast and Furious. And it blew me away because I'm just writing every now and then. And so I responded to this person. He's a pretty major talk show host. And I said, look, I need a place to hang my hat. Can you help me out? I just chased it while it was hot. And within 2 days, he had made a call to Breitbart to the one individual he knew there. And probably 2 days later, I wrote my first piece for him and never looked back.
Yeah, you're a pretty prolific writer. I see articles from you a lot. And doing that other show this week in Guns, I mean, I would say that every single episode that I've ever hosted of that show, there are stories from you there. How do you get it all done?
I just don't do anything else. And I wake up every morning at 5:30. So I wake up and get on it at 5:30, find any self-defense shootings that have happened overnight, find any great films of cops shooting idiots, and get that stuff embedded and get it up. And it's amazing how much mileage you can get out of a good video of a cop shooting an idiot. And so I get that done and just do it every day, 7 days a week. I don't think I officially took a vacation until 2 years ago.
Jeez.
So even the day my dad was buried, I think he was buried December 23rd, 2014. I wrote that morning. So I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that's my approach. That's how I grew up watching my dad work. I grew up with a dad who, when he was sick, I'd go, you can't go to work today, you're sick. And he would look at me and go, a man can't be sick. Or I would go, you can't go to work, you're tired. He'd go, a man can't be tired. And I used to think, this guy's crazy. But in time, that all soaks into you, and you just get absorbed with what you love to do, and you get it done.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk real quick about kind of gun stuff as well, because you write a lot of stuff about self-defense and cop shooting idiots, but you also do some stuff about guns. I saw some recent rifles about Pelican cases and Henry rifles.
I love a Pelican case.
Yes, so do I. They're amazingly awesome. What got you into guns?
Well, again, probably my dad, but it was a combination of him. He used to take me shooting. He had what is that gun he had? Now I can't remember it. It's a high standard 99. So it's a 9-round, 22 long rifle, single act. No, it was a double action. And he used to take me shooting cans with it. And between that and then when I was in doing my graduate work, and I really had to study the founders deeply. And I'm sitting there reading Jefferson and Washington and James Madison and all these guys, and I'm going, hold on. It's not just about shooting cans. Firearm ownership is key to freedom. Without guns, you're not free. And our founders believe that. And when the left says something contrary to that, they're either stupid or they're lying, but there's no other options. And so the more I read that, the more I took up guns as my cause, not actually my ultimate cause. Ultimate cause is freedom, but without guns, there could be no freedom. And that just became my worldview, and it's never left me.
Makes a lot of sense. What are your thoughts on media coverage of mass killings and things like that these days? I mean, clearly people need information and want information, but what do you think about overall coverage?
It's stupid. I mean, they blow it out of proportion. Well, I can't say blow it out of proportion because someone will say I don't value a life lost. It is out of proportion, though, the way they cover it. And they glorify the killer without whether that's intentional or not. And that does feed a copycat mentality for people who are looking. You know, some of these freaks, you'll read about what they did when they went into the school or the nightclub, and it was like they're 1 minute to dominate somebody. They've been waiting their whole life to dominate somebody. Well, the media reports that, and the next guy figures out, ooh, that's how I can dominate somebody. So what I try to do at Breitbart, sometimes my editors will put the name in. I'm not putting them down for that, but I don't put the names in. I'll call them the attacker, the gunman, the whatever. I still think we should glorify these animals. And, you know, I think we have to be honest. You know, people quote the left is always like, what, 355 mass shootings this year or whatever. That's all BS, you know. I don't know how many mass shootings we've had this year. I would guess without even looking, it's probably 6 that would really – well, no, we're only in May. I would guess it's 2 or 3 at the most that would qualify as a mass shooting. But, you know, the media has changed its definition of a mass shooting so they can report it more frequently. It's just we live in a crazy world, and the only antidote for it is the truth, which is what we're trying to do, which I know that's what you guys are trying to do. But that's all. That's the only antidote for it. The establishment media is a waste. CNN is a joke.
Yeah. I'm very well aware of the media's redefining of a mass shooting. In fact, it doesn't necessarily come from the media. It comes from my favorite place, as everybody well knows. It's called Guns Are Cool, the subreddit Guns Are Cool on Reddit.com. They had that group there is an anti-gun group, and they initially started out harassing, stalking, and doxing gun owners on Reddit, and then they moved on towards activism. And one of their main pushes before they tried to redefine assault rifle, after that they attempted, and to some degree of success, at least in some parts of the world, have redefined mass shooting. However, even people like Mark Fallman, who is an editor for the New York Times, and Mother Jones, has said that their definition is flawed and specifically skewed to increased numbers to cause mass panic. Right.
No, I believe it was Fallman in 2015 when they were saying there had been 355 mass shootings. I believe it was Fallman who said the actual number was 4. I mean, that's the disparity we're talking about. These people on the left, they're animals. I mean, they really are. I'm not trying to be mean. That's just what they are. They're animals.
Certain people definitely are bad actors.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've often said on this show and others that in New Zealand, they made that guy literally the most powerful person in the country after he committed the atrocities that he committed, because immediately after one person broke some laws, they changed everything and affected all the people in the country that were law-abiding gun owners and just law-abiding people. And then we recently just had a killing here in the United States, and he basically said, yeah, I saw what he did. I want them to snag everybody's guns. And so I'm copying that, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what the media did. They gave the New Zealand guy all this power, and someone saw that, and now they want to wield that power in the United States. Thoughts on that?
No, you're exactly right. And if you look, though, if you pay attention, I know you know this. I'm not telling you anything. I'm talking to the viewers. If you pay attention to where these shootings happen, people are picking places they know are going to be gun-free, either because of the state it's in, the county it's in, or the stupid rules of the business. They know it's going to be gun-free, or the federal Gun-Free School Zones Act. That's as stupid as anything. So they know no one can shoot back. You know, a lot of these crimes, when they happen, you automatically know without looking. Well, that didn't happen in Oklahoma, Texas, or Kentucky. You know it didn't.
Yeah.
Because if it had of, this guy would have looked like, he would have been unrecognizable even to his mama. He looked like a piece of hamburger out on the sidewalk. And that's why these people pick and choose where they're going. And then these stupid politicians can't wait to come up. and try to make Kentucky, Texas, and Arizona look like California. And we've got to fight that.
Definitely. You write about a lot of self-defense and defensive shootings and things like that. Are there any that really stand out to you as just wonderful examples of exercising that naturally given right?
Well, I always like it when I write on a woman. And, I think the last 3 I've written have been on women. I think over the weekend, a guy texted his girlfriend, told her he was going to come kill her. That was late last week, excuse me. He told her he was going to come kill her. He came to her house and broke in. She shot him dead. That's awesome.
It is.
We had another situation, 2 other situations with women doing that over the weekend. One of the guys didn't get killed, but at least he still got shot, so that's good. But I believe some of the best ones, though, that go underreported, I think it was 2014, there was a would-be mass shooter in a barbershop in Philadelphia, and I covered this.
Yep.
And he's in there, and he's starting to open fire, just now starting to really feel it. And a concealed carrier went in there and tapped him twice in the chest with a 9 or a 40, and that was the end of it. Those are the stories that CNN will never cover, that MSNBC can't even pronounce. They can't even begin to say the words. I covered a story, it was either 2015 or 2013. There was an Uber driver in Chicago that stopped a mass shooting.
Yeah.
And I didn't even put a lot of information in it because a lot wasn't available, but a guy was shooting at a group of people. The Uber driver exited his car. Boom, boom, boom. And I think he only hit the guy in the legs a few times, but it stopped the shooting. But that piece, I think, got 1.3 million shares on Facebook. And what that tells you is the people love seeing a regular American with a gun getting things done. And those are my favorite kind of stories. They happen every day. When I wake up tomorrow, I won't have to dig too far to find these stories. I'll have to pick which one I'm going to cover. That's how often they happen. And that's what the people need to understand.
What's the best way to get that message out there? I mean, clearly Breitbart is doing its part there. We talk about it all the time, but people who are anti-gun or people who just may not care or be fairly indifferent about the Second Amendment and those freedoms, they're not looking at Breitbart usually or listening to this podcast or anything else. Like, what would you say? Is there a solution to kind of bring that to critical mass?
I don't know. I mean, I think you have certain people, the typical liberal who's a friend of mine on Instagram, DC Drano's a friend of mine on Instagram. I think between the two of them, they have 1.7 million followers, and they're constantly putting up memes on this kind of stuff. I think we've got to be doing that there. We've got to be doing it on Twitter. We have to be doing it on Facebook. And still, after you do all that, if you meet a true leftist, you can't do anything. You can't make a dent because leftists are immune to facts. So, I'm writing for the person who is still on the fence, doesn't know if they're left or right. That's the person you can still share the truth with and have some impact. And I think we have to share so often that we find all those people, if even by accident, some way we can do it.
Yeah. We had someone on the show a while back that was upset about a post that you had made. It was Every Time for Gun Safety, one of their instructors or something, holding a firearm by the muzzle, and you called it out, and people got upset about that, and I think there was some stuff thrown around. Do you recall that post and kind of the drama that went along with it?
Yeah, I remember it. I mean, it's not my fault she's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, look, if you're an instructor, if you're a firearms instructor, I would say that, probably know which side the bullets come out of. I think that's a reasonable thing.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, a firearms instructor doesn't tell you not to touch the trigger by touching the trigger and pulling it. They tell you not to touch the trigger by holding the gun the way you should hold it. And there's no excuse for what she did. But see, the reason Everytown probably got mad, which I didn't even know they did, it makes me so happy to know it, that I might stay up extra late tonight, watch a movie or something, because the reason they probably got mad is to try to deflect from the fact that liberals they hardly know anything about guns. The people that want to make laws don't know the difference between a single action and a spark plug. And so they bring this person in to do some kind of gun training who probably doesn't know the difference between a barrel and a firing pin. And she holds the gun wrong, and she gets called out. So they're going to try to deflect that. I can't help it if they're ignorant. I just can't.
Yeah, totally understand. And I mean, that picture, it's pretty ridiculous. I had a similar reaction to you just like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Right. I think it's time to retweet that. That's what we'll do tonight. I'll get on there and retweet that picture and do it on Instagram. Let's see if we can't get them mad again.
Tag me in it so I can stay tuned for the drama. Listener Izzy, he mentioned some Twitter bannings about James Woods and some other people recently. Are you aware of those things going on?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Of Woods, I am. Yes.
What are your thoughts there?
I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think we've got a problem here. I mean, everybody knows that, but we got platforms that are basically. I think part of me thinks maybe the platform has a right to do some banning if they own the platform, but the problem is not if they advertise that it's going to be a place for the free exchange of ideas, which is what they do. They present themselves as an area where ideas can be exchanged freely, but then they've got some group of people here behind the curtain in Oz deciding which ideas deserve to be shared and which don't. So these platforms are not free at all, not in any way. We know that they are they're against conservatism. They hate Trump and anything that he has to do with. He's not the only one. I mean, there are a number of topics and people they hate, and we're going to have to watch it. That's going to be the one hard part about 2020, whether we're talking about Trump or conservative pro-gun senators or congressmen. Social media has big plans to warp the message, to reduce turnout for voting and all these things. And so what's happening to James Woods is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and he's actually a pretty strong voice for conservative values and things like that. I actually enjoy his Twitter, and I'm not a huge fan of Twitter in general.
Right, Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's kind of I don't know. It's nasty. It's a sewer. But I like Woods. He's pro-gun. He's conservative, and even more than all that, he just loves this country. It's very refreshing.
I agree, Aaron.
Well, I mean, we always chime in about fake news on the show here. And fake news really is just a distortion of the truth. And I think it goes both ways, both on the left and right.
So do you.
Yeah. Right. Hey-o. But it's just something, do you see that on happening on both sides, or do you think it's more prevalent on the left?
If I answer this question, you're going to think I'm a weirdo, but I don't see it. I really don't see it much on the right, but I can't say it doesn't happen. And the reason I don't see it on the right, I'm going to explain my answer. I don't dig around on the right. I dig around on the left to find these idiots making their anti-gun statements. And so while I'm doing that, I'm running into all their fake news. So let me answer it that way. I might not be the best person to ask that question. Let me say it that way.
All right, well, I'm going to agree with you on one part, in that a lot of people who are writing news stories on the left-hand side are fairly ignorant about firearms. I mean, that's just the way it is, and they come at it from a very specific point of view that because they don't like them, they'll research people who agree with them, like people from the Brady campaign, people from Moms Demand Action, and they'll consider those people experts, but those experts are equally ignorant. So it's like an ignorance feedback loop, and everybody thinks they know what they're talking about, and then when they actually publish that kind of information to the public and people who know what they're talking about see it, then they can come off finally as ignorant. But in between themselves, they won't actually know how much they don't know.
Right. No, you're right. If you think about I think it's Kevin DeLeon, but I could be wrong. He's a senator. And then you take the governor right now, Michelle, can't think of her name, but the governor of New Mexico. If you take her and pick a couple of more of the leftists from the Senate, U.S. Senate or U.S. House, just between them, you've got sayings like high caliber capacity clip, 30-round clip, all these different things that don't even exist, but they want to ban them. And they get trapped in this circle, and they're all just speaking each other's language again and again and again. Not one of them knows what they're doing. So it's funny in a way, but it's sad in a way because they have the power to enforce a ban at the state level. It's sad.
So true. Cop shooting. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
I see on your wall you got one of my idols there, Ronald Reagan.
Oh yeah,
I do like Ronald a lot. What do you think? So, I read a lot of your articles. Actually, I will admit that, and you are gun based. I mean, you do touch on politics a lot, but it's basically firearms.
Right.
You got someone like Ronald Reagan, who was, a lot more conservative than our current president, a lot more anti Eastern Bloc countries. I mean, how do you justify what's going on now with someone like that?
Well, I don't know I don't know what's happening in the Eastern Bloc.
Well, I mean, he was Reagan, pushed for Russia to be crushed,
Right.
And now it's more like we're best friends with them. It seems like.
Well, I don't know if we're best friends. I don't know that we see eye to eye on China or Venezuela, but you got to think when Reagan was in office, the Soviet Union still existed. So we're dealing with a different country. When we deal with Russia, it's not the Soviet Union, and you're right. The only way to deal with the Soviet Union was to crush them. Of course, the left again whined, Reagan's going to get us blown up. Well, they're going to blow us up if they smell weakness.
Right, and Reagan did a great job of just outspending the Russians, and that's what really helped.
If you study that, we studied some of those cables. They were just being released, some of them, from the Cold War when I was doing my PhD. And you see Reagan's economic war, that everyone should have to study his economic war. But, of course, the left, being in control of universities, is never going to let it happen. But it was a genius move. Reagan understood that if we start building more missiles, or even give the impression that we are, that what the Soviets will do, they'll starve their own people to build more missiles and keep up. And he understood that at some point they hit critical mass there, and enough people are hungry that they'll begin to overthrow their own government. There'll be an unrest that no one can control. Reagan was a genius in that way, all right? But the left keeps that suppressed so they can present him as some stupid cowboy. But to me, that was one of the most vital things he did to bring the Soviet Union down. Now, if the Soviet Union has brought down, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't be looking for allies in the Eastern Bloc.
I would say
we wouldn't be looking for allies of countries that we basically freed those countries by destroying the Soviet Union.
Right, yeah. But now Russia's, we got
trying to get them back.
We got Ukraine, we got Crimea, we've got Venezuela, we've got all these different places that they're now is proxy wars again, just like back in Afghanistan days. And Russia, it's Russia on one end and us on the other end, and they may not be the Soviet Union, but they're pretty darn close.
The problem is we didn't kill enough commies.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Yeah.
Who's that voice that just said that?
Jeremy, our Marine.
I'm gonna give Jeremy some credit right there. We should have smoked those folks in North Korea and Vietnam, and if we had done that, look where we'd be today. And in Vietnam, I think we should have done it just to honor our soldiers. In North Korea, we should have done it because right there, it was a determined communism that is creating problems even today. But we get what we get for being weak. We were weak in both those wars. It wasn't our soldiers' fault, not in any way. It was a politicized war, which is always a mistake.
Yeah, and the big thing when you invade a country is when you're fighting a group in a country, where are those people going to go? It's not like they can flee. They're going to stay there and fight. That's where they have nowhere else to go. While us, on the other hand, we have a home and we want to get our troops eventually back. So that's the biggest fault of any foreign war that we have.
Right. Well, and if you look, if you look at, like, say, Vietnam, you had LBJ, who I call SOB. LBJ set up agreements with Ho Chi Minh that we would not bomb in North Vietnam. We would not bomb ancient buildings, including churches. So Ho Chi Minh's people, whether they were in the Northern Army or whether they were in Viet Cong, they knew they could come down, get close to us in the South. They could kill our guys with booby traps and everything else, and at night flee back to the north, get inside the church. We couldn't bomb them. That's how we fought that war. It's stupid. You can't fight like that. Yeah. You either go in there to beat the enemy or stay home and watch Jeopardy with me.
Vietnam War is pretty fascinating. What drew you to it for your studies?
My dissertation chair fought it, and plus, it's just so big. When I went in there, I think I was a little arrogant in my thinking, and I didn't realize I was, but I was like, there's no way I could study this for 6 years. And when I finished it, I'm like, wow, I didn't even scratch the surface on this war. And so many things come to play in there. Total war versus limited war, proxy wars, how proxy wars work, all kinds of things. Communism versus capitalism, communism versus freedom, on and on and on you can go. And so that war has political lessons. It has war fighting lessons. It has all kinds of lessons in it.
Very cool. We are talking to AWR Hawkins. We're going to take a quick break and hear from Second Call Defense.
Now, for our defensive gun use of the week, sponsored by Second Call Defense, offering you complete protection for armed self-defense.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Tell me something I don't know about Second Call Defense.
I don't know, actually, but I was going to ask Nick. Nick, you just you saw a story today that you thought was kind of interesting and kind of related to Second Call Defense a bit.
Which one?
The lady who spent 4 years in custody before she was just basically let off because there was nothing there.
Yes, that one.
Tell us about it.
You just did. Aha!
She was acquitted after 4 years in custody.
Her husband was abusive in a bunch of horrible ways, and one night she wound up shooting him. She went to prison went to jail for 4 years, waiting trial. Finally, it went to trial, and she was acquitted. And it looks like currently she's trying to get her 2 daughters back from the state.
Yeah.
So was that in Florida?
I don't recall where that was.
I don't either.
It was in the South somewhere.
But it's stories like that freak me out. I mean, she got acquitted, but that was 4 years of her life gone. She lost her kids to either wards of the state or family. And that's the kind of stuff that Second Call Defense helps with. So, like, the day it happens, you call 911, you call Second Call Defense, and they kick into action with attorneys and retainers and criminal and civil defense, criminal and civil damages if necessary. And they pay it all so you don't ever have to worry about it. And, clearly you can never know, but I have a feeling that if she had a really good attorney and, someone, an advocate behind her, that she may not have spent 4 years in jail while waiting for trial. So check out Second Call Defense. Don't wait till it's too late.
This portion of We Like Shooting has been sponsored by Second Call Defense, the most comprehensive protection for armed self-defense in America. Visit WeLikeShooting.com/SCD to find out how to get your first month free.
And it was the state of Missouri.
Missouri.
Yep.
Okay.
Missouri.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting one. We posted about it on Instagram and Facebook today if you want to read more. We're back with Breitbart's AWR Hawkins. So you said earlier cops shooting idiots. Any of those stories that kind of stand out? I mean, there's a lot of them, and we see them a lot.
Well, that one, it was fairly recent, the guy in, what was it, Noble, Oklahoma, where he was coming off the porch.
Yeah.
The guy's walking right beside him and starts reaching his jacket. The cop said, "Don't put your hand in there." And that guy pulled a gun. And that cop, just as smooth as he could be, pushed the gun to the side. Pop, pop, pop. Put 3 in that guy, and he just crumbled right there. Dash cam caught it all. But I'm amazed by the calmness of a police officer. I mean, I've got friends who are police officers. I know they can lose it, but you know what? I think they deserve to lose it every now and then because I don't know how. This cop just went through the motions like it was part of training, pushed the gun to the side, shot him 3 times, and then calls for an ambulance to come help the guy out. I mean, it's amazing what these officers go through. And but fortunately for me, when I watch that kind of video, I'm like, well, I'm glad it's him and not that cop. So
yeah,
that's how I feel about that.
I agree 100%. Now, we see California constantly and other places, but California comes to mind because it's been a pretty recent story where now they're putting different rules of engagement. And I think maybe it was California where now officers can't attend any training, even on their personal time, that are like warrior mentality or anything else like that. I feel like they're trying to kind of neuter the police because, in these urban areas, they have political problems whenever someone gets killed by a police officer. And I don't know how officers continue to do their jobs. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't either. Those people are probably trying to to prevent another watch riot or something like that. But that, as you say, that's still going to happen. It's going to happen if an officer kills somebody, whether justified or not. So, and by that I mean whether the officer can prove justified or not. But I think it's crazy. Officers should have fewer things to think about, not more. I think you increase the odds of the officer making a mistake if you give him more and more hoops to jump through, even if some of those hoops are just having to restrain himself. I think he ought to be able to have clarity of thought, do what needs to be done, and anything short of that, he's in an unnatural position.
Yeah, I agree completely. Obviously, Breitbart is sometimes a target of the left. What controversial stories that you've been a part of or written that you recall? What are some of the biggest ones?
You know, I do mainly guns, so people are just, when they're mad at me, it's over guns. I'm not really in a controversial thing. I think people got mad at me when I wrote a story. Pierce Morgan, he's an idiot, but
yes,
he got mad at me when I wrote a story on Gabby Giffords that she is a human shield for the gun controllers, and that's what she is. It's a shame what her husband does with her, parading her around stage to stage. And she's, you know, she just says a few lines or a few words and they put her back down or whatever. I mean, it's a shame that he does that. But the goal of the left in propping her up like that is to make themselves unassailable, that they can say whatever they want and we're supposed to cower down and not talk. Well, you know, Second Amendment rights are more important than that. And so we're going to talk. But, you know, one of the most hypocritical things of this is that she's spending her life now, or her husband is through her, spending his life pushing background checks since she was shot. The guy that shot her passed a background check to get his gun. It's all a bunch of BS. You know, I can't handle these people on the left.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry for what happened to her, but at the same time, you know, I've taken a little bit of heat for saying that David Hogg is a piece of crap. And I'm like, you know, you put yourself into this public public discussion, public debate, and you have a fairly, controversial view to some parties like that. That's just fair game. I feel bad for what happened to her, but at the same time, she's trying to take away the rights that I care about most in this country, and it's unacceptable, and I'm never going to back down from that.
Right, and you should. You know, we want to take a valuable lesson from what happened to her. Of course, it's possible, even if you're armed, it's possible if someone come up behind you, you don't even know they're there, they could shoot you and kill you, so your gun did you no good. But in a situation like she was in where that guy's coming right at you, the lesson I would learn from what she went through is have a gun with you. Have a gun with you. Have friends with you you know who have guns. And when that guy comes up the middle like that, even if he gets you, maybe one of your buds will put 2 rounds in his temple, and that'll be the end of that. And I think that her situation where she's shot in a defenseless position reminds us that this world, it can happen anywhere. And you've got to be armed and be prepared. Not be paranoid, but be prepared.
Yeah, 100% agree. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with the NRA. Any thoughts about just, you know, stuff that happened at the annual meetings or just the NRA or just, you know, advocacy in general?
Not really, because I still can't tell left from right, up from down with it. Too many people have told me too many things, so I've told everybody. I've been asked about it before. I said, you know what, I don't want to get caught up in the soap opera.
Yeah, it really is soap opera these days. We've definitely, you know, it's the same thing. We hear a lot of things, we read a lot of things, and it's like some of the sources are reasonably against, you know, freedom and gun rights and things like that. But at the same time, I try to look at everything, and it is a soap opera. The best way I've heard it.
Right on.
Every day carry, you carry something that might be a little bit unorthodox every day, right?
Well, it depends. Depends on what you mean by unorthodox. I'm carrying a SIG 320X compact right now. I like it. A little bit meatier than a Glock 19, but it is still quite compact. You can hide it pretty easy, and I think I've carried 16 or 17 rounds in it. So comes from the factory with night sights. It's hard to beat.
That's I thought I remembered you carrying something a lot bigger sometimes.
Well, a lot bigger. Well, I carry a SIG 2022, which is a big gun, or a full-size H&K, or I even have a Rock Island 10 millimeter. That's a deadly weapon. Holy cow. I love to carry the 10. I also have a Springfield Armory 10 millimeter, the XDM with the 4.5 barrel, 4.25, excuse me. I love carrying that gun. So I carry bigger guns sometimes, but I love this X Compact from City. It's got a flat trigger in it. I really like it.
I've been carrying the SIG P365 pretty much nonstop lately, and I'm liking that one a lot too.
Oh, that's 365.
You guys and your mouse guns.
A 365 is hard to beat. Now I keep this in my truck right here.
Oh, there you go.
You can see it.
Is that a Roni?
Roni AF.
That's that CAA gear up MCK. I've got a Glock 19 in it, so I've got 15 rounds here, 15 rounds in the hole, one in the chamber. So I got 31 rounds, and then I collapse the deal like that. So I just keep that on in between my console and my seat in the truck. So maybe you were thinking I carry that with me, but I keep that close just in case it really gets crazy.
I like it.
That thing is deadly accurate. It stabilizes that pistol like crazy.
I like that a lot. Let's see. So yeah, the 320X Compact that you mentioned in the show notes. What are your thoughts on that?
So far, I love it. I mean, I'm still trying to I'm shooting it a little low left, so I think that's me pushing, pulling, but I'm shooting tight groups low left, so I just got to move it. I love sight acquisition. I love the size of it. I really love a Glock 19 size gun. That's the gun right there.
Yeah.
But I love this flat trigger. And what they did, it's a little bit like we've seen with Springfield. They have a loaded indicator on top just behind the chamber. But as I say, then it comes from the factory with the SIG X-ray night sights. It's got the extended beaver tail. So you grab it with confidence, come up with it. I really like the gun. That's my opinion so far.
Yeah, I've shot some of the 320X series, and I got to say I do actually like them. I'm not a huge SIG guy, even though I carry one every day. But yeah, I'm liking those a lot.
Right. I used to not be a SIG guy. I think that's important to mention. But I love their striker fired guns.
Yeah.
And I like that 365 you're talking about. That it's still hard for me to get my mind around with a 12 round mag. How I have a gun that small and I'm packing around 13 rounds a night.
I know. I agree. It's some kind of crazy. It's like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I think that the next presidential election is going to be pretty crazy, and hopefully the NRA and all that stuff is going strong by that point. But any prognostication on some of the craziness that we're going to see?
Oh, I don't know. For all I know, the House is going to try to impeach Trump before then. It could go absolutely hog wild. They're already talking about charging AG Barr with contempt because he won't play their games. And so who knows, is my point. Within the next 2 days, it could go crazy. It might not even be that far away. I think it's no holds barred. I think what Trump's election really brought to light is the people who understand that there's power in politics. When they lost in 2016, they didn't lose easy. They are mad still, and they're going to do whatever they can to try to get that power back. So I think it's Katie bar the door once it gets rolling.
Yeah, I agree. So there's a story that we were going to talk about later, but I want to talk about it right now because you wrote about it today, I believe. Cory Booker pushing for some TSA pre-check style interviews for gun purchases. Like, what is going on with this guy?
Well, I don't think he's very bright. I mean that. So I think he's desperate. I don't know what he's running. In a group of 21, he's probably running 28th. And he's trying to find a way to get traction. He and Swalwell are sitting on the bench together. They're not even in the convention center with the other candidates. They're out on the bench out front eating cotton candy, trying to figure out how they can get traction. And so he throws out 14 gun controls. One of them, as you say, TSA pre-check interviews. You got to sit down with a bureaucrat and do an interview in order to buy a gun. He also wants to do gun licensing. He wants to ban assault weapons. He wants to do no fly, no buy. On and on and on we can go. I say this is his last straw, and he'll be out pretty quick. I think the same thing about Swalwell. Swalwell is all smoke, no fire, and so he's about done too.
Was he the gonna nuke everybody guy, Swalwell?
Well, he was going to nuke us, and then in his benevolence, he backed off, and he's just going to jail us.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, that's really good. But he's just, people, if you watch Swalwell, it sounds like I'm trying to be mean. I'm not. I'm actually trying to be careful because I don't want to be too mean. But if you watch him on TV, even CNN will catch him and go, look, how do you plan on doing this? And he just stares at the camera for a minute because he doesn't know how he's going to do it either. He knows it's unworkable, but he's just not bright. And so, as I say, he and Booker, they're both about the same level in this campaign. That means they're not going very far.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, just one last question before I let you go. What's in the works for the future for you?
Well, so far, just more articles with Breitbart. I am working on a book that I'm going to try to get some traction on once we get enough done. I've got some friends at a couple of publishers that we're talking about, but in 9 years, I've written enough that I think there are certain parts of the Second Amendment I could write on, and it would be something that people might want to read. So I'm going to take a chance with it. So I'm working on that. But other than that, just straight Breitbart.
Just working hard, getting up at 5:30 every morning, right?
That's right.
That's
yes,
awesome.
Sir.
That's awesome.
That's so early. God,
it is.
It's
I
early
can't get that kind of motivation.
I think I woke up once at 5:30 and I was like, "What the hell?" And I went back to sleep.
Right. I was like, I'm just going to sleep for another 8 hours just to make sure everything's okay.
Now, I will say this: it catches up to you every now and then, and I'll lie down for a nap, and I'll set my alarm for an hour, and if I happen to wake up a minute before that hour is spent. Sometimes I just wake up wild-eyed. I can't figure out where I am. I was sleeping so deep. That's how tired I'll get after a few days, and I have to have that nap to catch up, and then I take off again. So it's an early hour. I can't lie about it, but I got to get things done.
Yeah, I respect that, man. Where can people find everything that you do online?
Well, Twitter, at AWR Hawkins on Twitter. Almost everything I write comes up there. On Instagram, AWR_Hawkins. But if you want to see it fresh as it comes, just go to Breitbart, Breitbart.com /AWR Hawkins. And there's just a feed right there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us some of your insight. Really appreciate it. Read your articles all the time. And keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Have a great night.
Likewise.
Hey, you too, man. Yep.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
See ya. I got to be the last guy to say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Bye. Bye. Have a good one. Thank you.
Make sure you differentiate between eardrops and eye drops.
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
That's the key. All right, man.
All right,
have a good night.
Bye.
You guys are crazy.
Oh, dang it. It was Savage.
It was Savage. Savage won.
Good job, Savage.
All right, guys.
Oh man, look at his profile picture. He looks like me.
I know.
Oh my god.
He looks dude, I'm telling you, beards make everyone 37% more manly.
And 50% older.
Yeah. Now, Savage, if you grew a beard, you would just look like a freaking a dwarf woman.
I seriously would.
Guys. Oh, there's no idea. That's great. Every week it gets me. Never gets old. All right, guys, it is time to talk about Patriot Patch Company. And, there's a lot of great stuff about Patriot Patch Company. We just got our Patriot Patch Company Patch of the Month Club today. Nick, you haven't even gotten yours yet. You haven't seen it. For Memorial Day, it's some gay what's the some gave all? No.
I thought you said some gay.
That's what I heard too.
Like, whoa, where's he going with this one?
Aaron, what is it?
All gave some gave all.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's really cool. Jeremy, what's that thing called? It's like the boot with the rifle in it and the helmet on top.
What, was it the Warrior's Cross or something like that?
That sounds right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll take your word for it.
I don't know what it's called, but I know what it is. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a really cool patch, man, and perfectly fitting for this month. So go to Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co, and use coupon code WLS for 10% off. Now we've got a bunch of giveaways. Patriot Patch Company gives away 20 patches. Canos Tactical Group gives away a class. Black Rhino Concealment gives away a holster. Stuck Not Custom gives away a $50 gift card. Blue Alpha Gear gives away a belt every single month. You can enter to win all of them at WeLikeShooting.com/giveaway, and it's all available there every single day. You can enter to win every day, and if you're a Patreon, you get extra entries too, which is freaking awesome. So, WeLikeShooting.com/giveaway. We have this other show, don't we, Aaron? We have another show?
We do have another show.
It's called Double Tap, and on that we have a segment called Not Guns. Aaron, what did we talk about last week?
God darn it. I don't remember.
Aaron.
Like, I did everything I was supposed to do except look at that up. And I think it had to do with asking a very, very important question.
What question was that, Aaron?
No way.
Did you just look, Sean? Did you go back and look?
No, because I'm still trying to get there, so let's just keep talking.
I think it was
actually saying nothing.
It does seem like it was extraordinarily important.
I mean, it was earth-shattering, if I remember correctly. Like, I think, Sean, you cried.
No.
Savage found religion.
Oh.
Wasn't it something about children's cartoons?
It's the cast has become transformed into characters from children's animated movies. Who are they?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Aaron,
that sounds awesome.
I said that Aaron was Scar from The Lion King.
And I said you were Shrek.
And we all agreed that Jeremy was the coyote from Roadrunner.
Yeah.
I thought we all said he was like Wreck-It Ralph.
And Savage is Earthworm Jim.
Oh, wow. That's a reference.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, that started off as a video game, too.
Yeah.
Wait, is there a cartoon?
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a cartoon.
I had no idea.
There was a cartoon.
He just looked like a worm right now, so I couldn't.
I'd never
Worm head in a robot body.
No, actually, none of those things are what we actually said. If you'd like to hear that, you'll have to go listen to Double Tap. It's in our main feed, and you can find that at WeLikeShooting.com/show. Aaron.
Don.
Hello.
Hey, Sean.
Can you hear me?
Hi. I can.
All right. It is time for Gear Chat. It's brought to you by Faxon Firearms. Man, look at this. I got this Hellfire slide. So one of our listeners, Chris G., also the king of the rooftoppers, won the Faxon Firearms FX19, the big, huge giveaway that they just did. And, man, that is awesome. He picked the Hellfire model, which is like the totally Gucci'd out one. And those are pretty cool. So you can get either the Patriot or the Hellfire. You can get the M&P slides there. You can get barrels, which you can't actually see on YouTube because it's green and the green screen's taking it out, which is even funnier when I lock the slide back and it just looks like a compensator on a toothpick.
It's like the rainbow barrel, so it's got purple and pink and green.
Chameleon PVD.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, all kinds of stuff. And barrels, man, like all the barrels. You want M&P barrels, you want Glock barrels, you want rifle barrels. They've even got those TIN, the gold barrels. Those are available right now for a limited time, so go check
those out. Would you call it tin?
Well, no, because it's capital T, lowercase I, uppercase N. And if I say
titanium infused nitrate or something like that.
If I say tin, they'll be like, well, that's not going to hold up.
I don't know, man. The Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
He rusted up. He couldn't move, remember?
Exactly.
Yeah, all it took was a little oil and he was good to go.
Exactly. All right, guys. So anyway, go check out Faxon Firearms. You can use coupon code WLS10. It gets you 10% off your entire order. I was looking today on their website because I think I'm going to build a 7.62x39 AR. And
son, what up?
Yeah, so I saw they have barrels.
Welcome.
I knew this is what it was going to come to.
I did too. But dude, I'm like, we're constantly bringing in parts and stuff that we need to evaluate, so we put together new rifles and things like that. And I was like, okay, I don't have that one. And again, I can use Faxon stuff, and it'll be good. So Faxon Firearms.
It's going to be better than your 300 Blackout.
We'll see. Oh, the one thing I'm not excited about for that one is the magazines.
Okay, so C products only.
Okay, because Pro Mag has a bunch of them, but they're reviewed very poorly.
No, C products are the way to go when it's a 7.62x39 AR.
All right. Sounds good. So anyway, check out Faxon Firearms. And I guess since I'm talking already, I'll just keep going. The thing that I'm going to talk about tonight is the CGS Group's Cube pistol compensator. And you can actually see it on the gun if you're watching on YouTube.
That's Cube with a Q.
Yeah, QUBE.
They had to get real cute and clever with that one.
Yeah, it is cute and clever.
Nick does not approve with the naming.
Wow, Nick. You got anything else you want to say, Nick?
I mean, I like the product, but come on, guys, the name.
No, actually,
Square.
Ryan Kleckner had been posting about this, and finally I was like, you know what? I got to see what the hype is about. I definitely want to check it out. So got one in today. Haven't shot it yet. It's not even permanently mounted on the pistol. It's very clever, actually, because the compensator portion has ports open at the top and both sides. And then inside of that, it has the actual attachment that goes onto the barrel, threads onto the barrel, and it's got nut flats at the muzzle end, which are still pretty dang attractive. So what that basically does is you can turn the portion that threads onto the barrel, and then eventually it's like a what would you call that?
Like a jam nut.
A jam nut. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like a jelly nut.
And one of the cool things
is it like a jam nut or is it a jam nut?
I think it is.
It is a jam nut. Yeah.
So one of the things I actually really like about it, and I'm sure that this is not on purpose because it would not match any other pistol like this, but the lines on it match the Faxon Firearms Hellfire slide like perfectly, almost perfectly. And
I bet they planned it.
I don't think they did. I
bet they did.
Man, I don't know.
I'll bet you $1.
I'll bet you. No, I'm not. I never bet you anything ever. But, it's pretty cool. They say it's the screwless handgun compensator. I can't wait to actually get it out to the range and check it out.
But it's got a...
it screws onto the threaded barrel.
Yeah, and then it's got like a nut.
But what they mean
goes
by
onto
screwless is some of the compensators that you put on, they've got set screws, and I think that's what they're saying it's not.
Okay, but technically...
All right, so I've got one here. It has these 2 set screws right here.
But does everybody have one?
That would not.
No, this is not a cube. This is from Primary Machine, and I got to tell you, I hate it. These little threads just don't tighten down enough, and eventually after shooting, it go.
Yeah.
So that might be the jam nut. Might be the way to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. So I will probably get to shoot it this week sometime and report back. But
you mentioned permanently attached. You said it wasn't permanently attached yet. So are we going to tack that thing on there later?
It's not tightened down yet. The jam nut is not tightened down. Can I say that?
But
you really don't want to tack that on there
but can we permanently attach it?
That would be. How would you get the barrel off again?
We're not.
It's permanently attached.
No, we are not doing it.
We could even the seam between the gap between the slide and the comp. We could even close that up.
That's where it needs to be tacked up. I agree there.
You know what?
We could just close that up so that it's a nice flush.
One shot only gun.
I hate all of you.
Yeah, you have to weld it. You have to weld it up with a round in the chamber.
Jeremy, what the f***
You can shoot it once. Shoot it once, and that's it.
I see Jeremy over there smiling. Like you, Sean.
He's watching porn.
You're all idiots.
So $139 is what they go for.
Nice.
I don't know how
it looks cool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does look cool. I'm curious. How are we going to test this? Let's talk about how we're going to test it. How do we test?
You knew that was coming.
I did. Hey, Aaron, look directly at the camera. All right, good. Now, how do you guys propose that we test the efficacy of pistol comps?
They aren't really effective unless you're using hotter rounds. So, I mean, you're going to have to get some plus P type of ammunition or some hot ammunition, so you'll be able to tell the difference between standard ammunition.
I mean, not always. There is a noticeable difference even without plus P. I would say shoot it in front of a grid.
I have a grid.
Yeah, so let's set up a grid, shoot it with, and compare the footage.
What though? What you need to do if you're going to do that, then I know this sounds like a terrible idea, but it's going to come from me anyhow. You got to blindfold him. You can't let him know what he's which one is which. Otherwise, it might just be like the mental flinch.
That's a good point.
It's not a bad point. So you're advocating blindfold shooting?
Dude, I saw something where blind people were actually taking, shooting classes.
I mean, it's not like we've never shot with our eyes closed before.
Okay, that's true. It's not like we haven't done that like in the last week. All right, so yeah, I mean, I think getting on the grid, getting as slow of motion as we possibly can, and then we'll test it out. What other compensators are there out there that you guys like? Oh, wait a minute. Josh A. just said the new Mantis measures recoil force. That's what we need to do. We get the Mantis put on there, and then we actually just look at the freaking charts.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, good call. That'll do.
That'll do, Pig. Yeah. That'll do.
So anyway, I'm pretty stoked to test it out. It's freaking gorgeous, and this gun is so freaking Gucci right now. I just need a Black Rhino concealment holster for it, and then I'll be set.
And you need a light, too.
I've got a light for it. I've got a Black Enforce APLC.
But are you sure you want to put that Enforce on there?
Which we're going to talk about right now. Oh, and by the way, cgsgroup.com, you can find them on all the social media. That's where I picked this up.
So Saturday night, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Saturday night, we went out with Canaz Tactical Group, and we shot their low light class. And
Night Fire Fundamentals course.
There you go. Night Fire Fundamentals course.
Yeah.
So their low light class, low/no light class. I think we both learned a lot. It was a really, really interesting. Like you learn the fundamentals of shooting. You learn how to shoot and move. You learn how to shoot and use cover. And then all of a sudden you turn the lights off. You turn the sun off. And you start trying to use a weapon-mounted light. And all of a sudden it is much, much harder.
Dude, so I take a lot of the classes from Canaz Tactical Group. And because I've taken some of the classes so many times, like it's always challenging, but like I know this stuff kind of inside and out. But I'll tell you what, you add turning a flashlight on with my thumb and I fall apart. Like, can't even function as a normal human being. Just complete meltdown, like my brain rebooted.
Yeah, I had a couple of times too during the night where I just completely froze and had to like step back and sort of start the drill over again.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, we got through it, and we were able to do well towards the end, which was definitely important. But God, man, like, and when you think about it, like, when does bad shit usually happen, right? Like at night.
At night,
werewolves, vampires, all these things happen at night, not during the day. So
basically, the entire plot of the Warriors.
Yeah. It was really eye opening, and I think if you have not taken like a night fire, like using your flashlight, identifying targets, engaging threats. Like if you haven't done something like that, you may want to add that in because it was really eye-opening. I've been actually thinking about it now for 2 full days, and I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about everything. Like all I know is that everything I know, everything I've done is f***ed up. And I'm really
just
glad.
Remember.
Yes.
When in doubt, everything's a target.
Well,
no, because you see, this is how I get shot.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy.
I know. Do I live?
What's up, Nick?
So,
because that's what I'm worried about.
One of the interesting things too. You're worried about me? What?
No,
I said, do I live? Because that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I agree, but threat identification is a pretty big part of it, and learning the strategies so that you're not shining light directly in your eyes, reflecting it off of a wall. Actually lighting up what the threat is, and then being able to identify. And I'll tell you, we learned a lot about strategy. But would you say that we learned even more about our gear?
I would say it was equal gear and strategy. Obviously everybody in there knew how to shoot and had been through a lot of those drills before. But, like you said, working on not blinding yourself and working on not just pointing the gun willy-nilly at, whatever you happen to see. Stuff like that is a little different. But then also, the gear side of things, I was quite happy with my light setups.
What were you running on both pistol and rifle?
On my pistol, I have a TLR1, and then on my carbine, I was running. It's that Solar Force light that we've talked about. It's a really cheap light. Manicore used to sell them, and it's got a little tape switch that came with it.
Yeah.
The total setup, I think, with the tape switch was like $40, but it's been an excellent light all the years that I've had it.
Oh, that's a good point. I've got a couple of those. I should put one of those on.
I was pretty happy with that setup. He did bring up night sights, and he talked a lot about how night sights aren't necessarily useful in the dark because they are drowned out by your pistol light. However, the true glows that I had on my Glock 17 that I was shooting were still bright enough that even with my light on, I could still easily pick up those dots, and it was still decent to get a good sight picture. I
agree. I'm still comfortable with night sights. I didn't see a whole lot of negative reasons not to have one. Now I rolled. Did you talk about your pistol light?
Yeah, it's a TLR one.
Yeah. Now I rolled Inforce, so I've done a little bit of nighttime training, or at least low light, no light flashlight training, and it was really eye-opening then, too. This one was even more so. But I had the Enforce light on my AR, and I had it top mounted, so it's thumb activated. And one of the things that I noticed is, it was not bright enough. Like, we had one of the things where there were numbers written on the targets, and we were about 21, 25 feet back.
Yeah, not very far.
Yeah, from behind barricades, and I was going through the final drills, and they would call out a number, and you would have to A, identify, and then B, engage the threat when identified. And one of them, I got so f***ing frustrated because I could not read the letters, and I was like, God, you wrote the letters too f***ing small. I was pissed off. I was like, yeah, I mean, who the f*** can read those? Like, you cannot read those. I don't even know why we're doing this drill. It's f***ing stupid. And then Robert, the instructor, he shines his light off of his rifle on them, and I could clearly read them. So it was an equipment failure, or an equipment, not failure, but it was an equipment deficiency, I think, that I couldn't read them. And if I can't read that, if I can't identify, numbers written on a foot-tall numbers written on cardboard, then how am I going to identify a gun in a hand or a cell phone in a hand or something else like that? So it really made me think. The recoil of the rifle multiple times would push back, and ARs, there's no real recoil, but it would push me back enough that my thumb would pop off the light, and suddenly I would fire my next round into the dark, which is clearly a bad thing when you're talking about threat identification and making sure you don't end up in jail for the rest of your life. So definitely some things there that I didn't like. On my pistol light, you engage the light, just press and hold keeps the light on, and then letting go turns the light off. Because you clearly have to pull the trigger with the light on, you have to engage the Enforce light with your thumb, and that is a paddle that you push towards the center of the firearm. So you push it towards the firearm on both sides. So what I would have happen is, again, I would be pushing in, engaging the light, firing a couple rounds, and recoil would make my thumb pop off of that. Now, they've got a really good texture, really good stipple on those paddles, but I found multiple times that I would get in trouble because I would end up firing as my light turned off, which, you just can't do. So, do I hate Enforce? No. And inside, I think that they're pretty good options, but when we were outside in the dark of night, I was not happy with the performance of my equipment. Do I think they're trash? No, I don't think so. There's a couple other things like battery life. Apparently they have some kind of open circuit so that even if you haven't used it for 6 months, the battery will be dead when you take it out, which I experienced on 3 separate lights. But yeah, I learned a lot, and maybe a gun that I keep in my house, I might use an Enforce, but I'm going to really dig into this. I'm going to use a bunch of different stuff. I've got the Owl by Cloud Defensive on the way. I have a Surefire light. I need to get a Stream light, and then I'm going to go shoot this class again, and I'm going to do it with all the different stuff. I'll bring like 4 rifles and run different drills with the different gear and kind of see what I think there.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and on the Enforce thing, like I love the footprint of the APLC.
Yes,
but I don't really care for those switches that you got to push in. And I really wish somebody like when Streamlight came out with the TLR7, we all got excited and went over to looked, but it's got horrible little buttons that are way up there and they're kind of hard to reach.
The teeter-totter design of the other ones is really kind of ideal for this stuff.
Yeah, like if I could get that swiveling switch that's on the TLR1 on like an APLC sized light, I think it would be fantastic.
What do you have there, Jeremy?
It's a TLR1 HL.
So you have a TLR1, Nick?
Are you only shooting in momentary?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, it has an on switch.
Right.
Where it just stays on.
Well, and the key there is that you turn your light on, you point it at whatever the threat might be, and if it's an actual threat, then there you are sitting with your light on, giving them a perfect target to shoot at. So it's you turn the light on, identify the target.
Or if you're both in pitch black, you've just blinded them.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things to think about there, but yeah, take the class. I think it's a huge thing, and it really opened up equipment deficiencies or equipment wishes, but also it's a whole new skill set when you talk about even just adding one extra thing and learning how to do it.
My TLR2 has a laser.
Savage, what do you have there that you're blinding the camera with?
I don't know, some kind of eBay special that a guy in a garage recommended to me.
Nice. I will say, dude, lumens, all the lumens, and not just lumens, but focus and penumbras and everything else. It's like I'm gonna dig deep into lights because I was unhappy with how my night shoot went. So I can't wait to shoot the class again. Thanks to Kenaz Tactical Group for having us out. And you can find them at ktgfirearms.com or just Kenaz Tactical Group on Facebook, everything else. Aaron, what's your product?
Tonight, I want to talk about something we've talked about in the past, but I want to revisit. Today in the mail, I got a awesome Polymer 80, their PF 940C, 80% lower.
Nice.
And in a matter of 20 minutes, I was able to mill it out. Boom. Dude, this is what's so cool about this. It's like 20 minutes, I milled the whole thing out.
Now I just have the products of 2018, or if not 2019.
Right. And so the newer ones, I noticed that their locking block is so much thicker. They've definitely changed that out a lot since their original model, which is right here. So I mean, visually, if you're looking, I don't know if you can really see the difference, but physically, there is definitely an extreme thickness difference.
Are those both PF 940C?
Yes, they are.
Huh, interesting. So, yeah, you can definitely see.
Yeah, well, one's completed, one's not. But yeah, there's a huge difference. I wanted to ask you guys, milling it out, do you guys take the time to polish them up? From where you've had to cut the slides, the portions of the slides, and do the end milling on there. Do you guys ever like to sit down with like a nice soft low level sandpaper, low grit, and just kind of smooth it out?
I have not.
I haven't either, but
we're not talking about a hand fit 1911 here, dude.
Yeah.
No, we're not. But we're talking about a gun that you want to have pride in.
The last one I did, I literally cut with a bandsaw.
Oh, that's good.
And it works great.
Gaston Glock doesn't have pride in the products he makes.
I think he might.
He might.
No.
He might.
I don't know. So, and then Eureka Geek over at the chat, going back to the light stuff, said don't forget battery efficiency. And that's actually true.
So these retail for about $160, $150. I think it's $160.
Well, that's off the website at Brownells. Sometimes they go on sale for as low as like $109.
Yeah, I did not pay for this, by the way, guys. They did send it to me upon my request, just because I love their product so much.
Oh, you know what? Good point, Aaron. And the CGS group did send out this cube comp.
Yeah, I know if I don't get one, I'll probably end up buying the new subcompact model, which is the Glock 26 one that Polymer 80 came out with. Because I mean, they keep coming out with all these cool. I think they even have like the 21 frames that are available. I mean, they just keep coming out with these great products.
Well, and I know they're coming off the full firearm soon. So
yeah,
at a really great price point.
Yeah, I'm excited to see those too. And that is Polymer 80. They're fun, man. Like I was literally just playing with one of mine earlier. They're fun. I like them. I really enjoy Polymer 80s. I have one that I actually did on YouTube and our website. I said it's the dopest normal Polymer 80 in all the land. And it is pretty cool. I've got a Faxon. Actually, I'm sorry. That one was 100% Polymer 80. Every part I used on there except for the guide rod was.
Do they do a large frame, like for 45 10 millimeter?
PF 945, I believe, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might build a 10 millimeter out of that.
Dude, you should. And
good call. That's a very good call.
Polymer 80's good friends. Jeremy, just let me know.
Hey, Aaron, call them for me.
Yeah,
John's got him on there. His speed dial. They're like number 4 on his friends' circles.
I was just texting him today. In fact.
Yeah, I mean, I sent him a message like thanking him for getting here, and I'm like, dude, is it weird that I get like so excited when something like this comes in? It's just
it'd be weird if you didn't.
Right? I mean, I built my share of 1911s.
Ogre up.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take care of it.
When I built my share of 1911s, and they're a pain in the ass. These things, the Polymer 80s are just like easy breezy lemon squeezy, guys. It's just a matter of getting all the parts, and that's it.
Can you get ones that are already done?
Yes.
They're called
Yeah.
clocks.
No, they sell serialized frames now as well.
That's true. They do.
But they're not done. They just have the serial number.
No, they
No,
sell
they're
ones
done.
that are serialized.
What's that?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, Jeremy.
I'd rather do that because I'm going to have to serialize it anyways.
Yeah, that's fine. You can. We'll talk about it tomorrow and figure out exactly what you need. But yes, absolutely. And Aaron, I agree, man. They're fun. Like I've done, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them now,
Wow.
and I really enjoy them.
You know who does a really good job with them is Tactical Toolbox. I mean, that guy
Dude.
does amazing stuff.
He's
with
a
them.
beast with the polymer.
Ooh.
Tactical Toolbox. John. Are we allowed to say his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, good.
he says his name on his show.
yeah.
He
So
has a show.
anyway,
His YouTube channel, whatever.
Polymer 80, go check them out. They are awesome. Let's see. And
Savage.
Tim Knight actually said, how about you do videos on your Nightlight Adventure, Sean? And absolutely. Not only did we record a bunch of footage while we were at class. Oh, and let's give a shout out to our friend Mike M, who after class brought out like all of the most amazing night vision and thermal and, oh, dude, just so much awesome. What was I can't remember the models of the dual monoculars.
It was the PVS 15, I think.
Yeah. And what was the individual?
That I don't remember which one that was.
I don't
PVS
remember
14.
Yeah, but we actually got to shoot, is it the IR laser? The IR
Yeah.
illuminator?
Yeah, the infrared.
Infrared. And just got to like shoot that and just kind of to see that, but know that there's like literally no light coming out of anything and that no one could see us and we're just smoking these targets.
It was pretty cool. I was flipping
Hip
Sean the
fire.
bird, and he couldn't see me.
Yeah. Wait, I could see you.
No, not later.
Oh, when you were wearing them.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, Sean," and my hands were all blurry and stuff. But Sean's face was clear, and he could not see me.
Yeah. Did you see how angry I was?
You mostly looked confused.
Shut up, Nick.
Your mouth was kind of hanging up, and
But we
This
actually,
take place in Sean's bedroom.
like an elderly man that just escaped from a nursing home.
yeah. And actually, so we did get Mike actually took night vision videos of us running in the night fire course and pictures and all kinds of stuff. It'll be in the video review we put out of that course. Savage, what's your product?
Well, it's going to be referring to one of my favorite guns of the pores, the
Yep. Take a
Star
drink.
BM9,
Take Gun of the Poors.
Bowel movement 9.
also well known as the as a 1911 derivative. For those of you wondering, so these come with a standard 8 round capacity magazines that are very functional, but they're expensive. If you're going to be going on eBay or Gunbroker or anything like that, you're bound to find these for about $30 to $40 a pop, which is rather unfortunate. These are great little guns, but having limited magazine options kind of sucks. However, there is a solution to that, and fortunately or not, it actually comes from ProMag. ProMag, well, you can also get like a major brand one, but they make SIG P225 magazines. And SIG P225s have more or less the exact same form factor as the Star BM9 native magazine. There's just a few things that you need to do in order to get them to work right. It's kind of like a 3 to 4 step process. The first one is that the magazine base plate is very thick and it has a ramp up. So the ramp up actually interferes with the magazine well at the bottom of the pistol. So you have to shave it down so that that ramp goes down and is actually parallel with the base of the magazine base plate. The second thing you're going to need to do is at the mag catch hole, you're going to need to pull that back with a Dremel tool so that it matches the same length as the one that natively comes with the Star BM9. So that has to be lengthened and raised a little bit. And the important thing to note here is that when magazines are pushed up into the mag well and locked into the magazine catch, I guess you could say they headspace off the top ledge. So wherever that top ledge is, you have to make sure that's just high enough to where it will engage the magazine catch. If it's too low, the magazine catch will not fully engage and it will fall out. If it's too high, your rounds might not reliably feed and you won't get magazine lock back. The last thing you're going to need to do is the same side that the mag catch hole is on, right in front of the mag feed lips, there is an edge that needs to be radiused down. So you need to create a curve so that the magazine catch will push off of that curve and lock in. And so when you get everything set correctly, it should feed perfectly and lock in, so you pull down and it won't come out. And then when you rack the slide, it will correctly lock back. And then once you've tested those, you check and make sure the magazine will drop out freely, and obviously on mine it does. And so you will have a functioning magazine at that point. It takes a few steps. If you're patient and you go through and do it diligently, you can get it to work right.
Dude, that's kind of awesome. So what was the price difference between for the Bowel Movement 9 and the SIG P225 mags?
So the Pro Mag P225 magazines can be found for about $18 to $20, which is like $10 to $20 cheaper than you can find them. You can, of course, get SIG P225 or original magazines. Those will probably cost a little bit more. They do have 10 rounders that are SIG branded and even Pro Mag branded, so you can get those to fit as well.
But then you're dealing with Pro Mag.
Yeah,
you are.
I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't allow a Pro Mag to watch over a dead squirrel.
I've been through a lot of Pro Mags, and I've literally never had one that would work.
The thing, if you get to working with magazines, you can most of the time you can get a shitty magazine to work, just because companies sometimes like Pro Mag don't pay enough attention to details. They'll have like springs that are they're like either way too big or way too short or something like that. But if you work a little time and magic on them, you will eventually get them to work. It's not rocket science, but it's not simple either.
So the Pro Mag costs $20. A Sig Mag costs how much?
I think a Sig Mag is pretty much as close to being on par with the BM9, so it's like $30 to $40.
So you save half. How long does it take to make these mods?
It'll take you about 15 minutes with a Dremel.
That's cool. I dig that.
Just buy the right magazine.
No, I mean I'm like down. It's like it's clever, and you had to figure out a lot of stuff. I'm down.
Well,
Sean's
I didn't
down with
figure
the
this
clown.
out. Other people have definitely figured this out before me. I just followed their example.
Savage 1R made up all this.
I did not.
That's what I heard.
Savage
That's what he just
1R
said.
invented magazines, guys.
Well, I do have a series on how to fix ones.
Savage
And the
1R
internet
invented
from here.
auto-loading firearms. And did you know that the movie Love Story is about Savage 1R and his wife?
I thought that was The Notebook.
That too. Both of them.
I'll take it.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. Jeremy, any gear, guns, anything?
What?
What's new, man? You got.
Yeah, actually, I actually ordered a builder set from Aero.
Oh, nice. Did you?
The only reason I got it is because they were woodland camo.
That is actually pretty cool. I actually just saw those. I saw they were available. Did you get it yet?
I have not. I ordered it like Friday or Saturday. They haven't come in yet, but I ordered 3 of them. I sold one before. I even hit send on the order, and I'm keeping one. I got another one for sale. But so I'm going to build a. I was looking at all my ARs, and I realized I don't have a carbine.
You muted yourself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Oh, I was looking at all my ARs, and I realized I don't have like a 14-inch AR. I have nothing in that realm.
All right.
I have a 22-inch, a 20-inch, an 18-inch, and a 7.5-inch 5.56, and an 8.5-inch 9mm. I don't have like a carbine AR.
Sounds like a description of Aaron's collection.
Well, he's got the color right.
So I think I'm gonna build that into a carbine AR and do some stuff with it.
Very cool. I dig it. And Aaron, he can't put the woodland camo because you'll lose it in your butthole, and then what's going to happen?
Again.
All right.
Lemony Winks was that his name?
What?
From the South Park?
Mr.
Lemmy Winks. Not
yes.
Lemony, Lemmy.
Lemmy Winks. Okay.
All
A
right.
series of unfortunate events.
Have fun explaining that one at the ER.
My grand.
Oh, no, go ahead. It's fine. What were you going to say, Jeremy?
I didn't know you were playing it. My grandmother.
Savage muted you, Jeremy. You're going to have to murder him.
Commie.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother was an ER nurse for like 30 years, and she had some fun stories about guys coming in. One guy accidentally fell on a light bulb and got it shoved up his ass blast first.
Oh. No. Ooh.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, we got that.
No, you don't say.
Because he was gay, and
yeah, but I'm
you
sure
didn't talk about that back then.
I don't think gay people typically do that.
Things. Why the would you put glass?
Dude shoved a light bulb up his ass. It got stuck. He had to go to the emergency room, and they had to figure out a way of getting it out of him without A, smashing the light bulb, and B, cutting him open.
All right. Well,
what was option C?
I don't know. Robert C. on YouTube chat said it takes Savage more than 15 minutes to explain the mod. You know damn well it took him hours to actually perform it.
Literally did not. It was very fast.
All right, I'm going to play some audio now. What you gonna do now?
Talk about lifestyles. What you gonna do now? Talk about lifestyles. Brought to you by Brownells.
All right. I want to do the Brownells read real quick, and then after that, I've got some things to say about this light bulb. So first off, Brownells and that BRN 180S, like, I have to have one.
Yeah.
I don't know why it appeals to me so much, and for those that don't know,
I know why.
It's yeah, it is.
I want that as well.
Yeah, it's a reciprocating charging handle. This is just the shorter version. Like the first one, I was like, yes, this is awesome. I want this. But the 180S, the short one, it is a thing that must happen in my life, or else it will not be complete. But that's available for pre-order right now. It's going to be coming out very soon. I've actually been seeing the 180s. They've been shipping a ton of those. And yeah, Brownells, man, what do you need? You need tools?
You know what I just learned is available?
What? Oh, yeah.
The Glock 34 slides with the RMR cut, forward slide serrations.
I actually already
from Brownells
ordered a 34 barrel that I've had for about a month and a half, just waiting.
I remember back in episodes like 1 through 100 where Sean was like, Glocks just don't fit my hands right. And now it's like, well, I need all the Glocks.
But don't forget,
he has all of the M&Ps. So
well, it's going to be a polymer 80 frame. So
yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, Brownells.com. They have sales every single day. In fact, today, free shipping on anything over $49. Code VB5. I think I'm reading that backwards, but correctly. And even more importantly, you can get the Edge program, which is Amazon Prime. You get free 2-day shipping on everything you order from them.
Brownells Prime.
At Brownells Prime.
Let's talk about this light bulb.
Okay. Let me get their logo off the screen real quick.
Yep. Okay, there we go.
Brownells.com. And now we're to something completely different.
Now for something, yeah.
Roden said, how'd they get it out, asking for a friend. LOL. And then over in the other chat, Frank C said, just spin him onto a lamp and pull it out. Duh.
I could use the potato as well. That's what I do.
Dude, I was like, that's
pretty
genius.
good.
No, the potato is when the glass is broken.
But you got to remember, if it's a old lamp, you ever like try to change a light bulb on like an old like light or an old lamp or something, and it breaks that ceramic thing off and it like, pulls the wires up?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, then you'd be double.
That lamp being plugged in and somebody turned the light on and off. Really an ass
God.
lamp.
And that wasn't LED bulbs. That shit got hot, too.
No.
He turned the lamp on and his eyes just turned red.
Face starts glowing.
Man, he's going to need some
That
eardrops.
must have been 100 water.
He's going to need eardrops in his eyes. Okay. Anyway, this is WLS's Lifestyle. Aaron, what you got?
I wanted to talk about the Hindenburg.
All right.
Segway.
Okay.
Right. Well, it's like it was a disaster, right? But it had some benefits. Like, and I try to teach my kids that all the time. Like, no matter how bad things are, there's some benefits there.
No matter how bad things are, you could always be on the Hindenburg.
Oh, the humanity!
The huge manatee.
But there was a lot of Oh, go ahead.
That's like that joke that I forget what comedian tells, where he goes, just remember, Hitler did an awful lot of medical research without harming any animals.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So in regards to the Hindenburg, there were a lot of benefits that came out of that.
What?
Like we stopped using blimps?
Yeah. Don't use hydrogen.
Yeah.
Right? We don't use hydrogen to inflate shit anymore because fire. We don't use blimps anymore because stupid, and we don't have have trips between New York and Naziville in big balloons. So there you go. All benefits of the Hindenburg.
Is
right?
it though?
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
Is it anyone here want to ride on a blimp?
I totally would.
I would
think
ride
it'd be
on
awesome.
a blimp, yes.
Yeah.
And actually, they've got a lot of them now that they're actually putting people on.
And what are they filling it with?
Nitrogen. No, helium. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It wouldn't be nitrogen.
I know. I was kidding.
But
I love that.
The atmosphere is what, 70% nitrogen?
I love that Archer episode on the dirigible.
Yeah, that was actually a really good
Do you
one.
want to die?
Yeah.
He slaps the cigar out of that guy's mouth.
That is such a good episode.
But the whole point of this is no matter how bad things look like, how bad things are,
you could always be on the Hindenburg.
there's got to be something that you can take away. You can walk away from and say, "Oh yeah."
We should make a patch out of that.
Yeah.
You could always be on the Hindenburg.
It'll be a picture of a blimp with Aaron's head on it, and it'll be like, "Oh, the humanity." Oh.
Jimmy Carr is the one that told that joke.
Wow. Thanks. I was like dying over here. Like, I wonder who told that joke.
Chugging a jug of
Sunny D.
Holy
That's just water in there.
Oh. Still.
He drank the Sunny D earlier.
That's clear.
Dude.
Clearly.
I do love Sunny D, though.
You're such a
Clearly.
Love Sunny D.
you're such a
We talked
animal.
about Sunny D, man. It's the greatest drink ever.
If you don't like Sunny D, you don't like me, and I suggest you let that one marinate.
Is that like when you're in the car and we're all stuck in it?
That's Canadian geese, man.
Socialist ducks.
Savage wishes he was Canadian.
No, I don't.
Does he?
His wife is.
No, she's not Canadian.
Someone said Jimmy Carr has a weird ass laugh. Let's listen.
Today,
He's
though?
so funny as
Hold on, I'm working on it. Here we go.
While you're working on it, should we talk about other
No, I
things? What the hell, dude?
That is a weird laugh.
That's on purpose. That's not
Dude,
accidental.
that is awful. Like everything about him. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I know who he is now.
He's that British
dude,
guy,
you
right?
watch his stand up, he's fucking funny as
Oh, I will not watch
He's the
that.
guy who told the most offensive joke in the world, right?
No, that was Bob Saget.
yeah.
I've seen Bob Saget live. He's awesome.
Okay.
Shit.
Have you guys?
What?
You guys have watched the Aristocrats?
Yes.
Not the Aristocrats.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes,
The
I-
Aristocrats.
Is that with the two
Gilbert
mice?
Gottfried, man.
No, that's
Guy's a
Is that
legend.
what this podcast is?
I think so, actually. And then there's a blanket. All right, let's get into it.
I think we're done with the Hindenburg,
I agree.
Sunny D, and
I agree.
the Aristocrats.
I agree.
From sea to shining sea, America gets its news from one source, who gets his source from other sources. It's time for Going Ballistic with Savage 1R.
All right. Now it's time for some news that Savage read about on Reddit. And here we go. We already did the first one, so
Yeah, we already did the first one. We'll skip over Cory Booker's Ode to Gun Owner Licensing, which is obviously just ridiculous. We'll move on over to Representative Steve Scalise, who some of you may recall was actually a shooting victim back in the day when a very angry activist decided to take an SKS to the congressional baseball field and shoot it up. Yep, same guy. And fortunately, he's still very pro-gun, and it was even more so after that. And he's currently pushing the what the heck is this thing called? It's the FLICA, something like that. It's a new bill.
Like a horse?
FICRA, FICRA.
Not FLICA.
And not FLICA.
Not FLICA, FICRA. I was thinking of the horse.
It's like when you want something but you don't because you're kind of fickle.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay. Or if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you're trying to go save, low budget, you're fickle. Frugal.
So the federal law used to be, or still is, in fact, was originally written before there was the National Instant Background Check System and the Brady Bill and all that stuff. And so the way the law is written is that an FFL can't sell handguns across state lines. So if a person from, like, say, Washington was to go to Idaho across the border and buy a pistol, they would have to have it shipped back over to Washington to an FFL to get background check there. It doesn't make any sense to do that. And also what this bill would do is get rid of that entirely. So FFLs, as long as a firearm is legal to purchase in the state of the purchaser, they could purchase across state lines. It would also allow FFLs to go to gun shows in different states in order to conduct their business, which is completely reasonable. You know, because we have a national instant background check system, there is no need for this arbitrary rule that prevents FFLs from traveling to different states or from people traveling back and forth themselves and buying pistols across state lines. You can already do that with rifles. So as long as they're legal in your state, there's really no reason why we shouldn't be able to do this already. So I think this is a really good bill being put forth by Representative Steve Scalise.
Yeah, that is good. Oh, weird.
Here's my only problem with this. My only problem with this, and as I was reading it, and I forgot where the line was, it said as long as it complies with the state that it's being sold in and the home state of the person who's buying it.
Yes.
Why is it my job to know the law in all 50 states?
Because you're an FFL.
That's not a good enough reason.
Look,
it shouldn't be my job to know what the laws are in your state.
If you want to
just be the state where it's sold. Wants to go home and break the goddamn law.
Dude, it's your choice to make the sale. You know, so
I'm saying that I don't like that about the law because there's too many laws in too many states.
Oh, and I agree.
To keep track of.
I
gotta go research it every time. Take that out, and I'm all for it.
Let me ask you: how often do people come to your store from out of state and like, I wish I could buy this pistol, but I can't? A lot of times. Okay, so how hard would it be to look it up? That state's laws in regards to whatever.
It's a Google search.
I mean, we have to look up reciprocity every time we travel.
How many states are around you that you have to worry about?
It's not that. It's
I think you just want to about something.
I'm in Ohio. I'm in Ohio in an area where it snows a lot, and there's a lot of people that go to the south somewhere like Florida, and then come and they're moving back and forth, but they might have residency in Florida, but they live up here for half the year.
Yeah, but there's no problem for Florida. There's no problems with Florida.
Yeah, so far, but what if Governor Dickhead gets his fucking way?
Well, then you have
somebody
to do
comes up and wants to buy a goddamn AR. That's just no. You should be agreeing with me, you dumb.
I do agree with you.
I'm not saying the law is bad. I'm saying that part is stupid.
Yes, the way the laws are nationally, or state by state, how they vary, suck ass. But that's the way it is. So I'm just saying, you have to live with the way the laws are.
Loud noises.
Ah!
Autistic screeching.
Hey. All right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no.
We're not allowed to say that?
No.
Oh, well, don't say that, Jeremy.
It was you.
No.
All right, Chewbacca.
Oh, you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that.
All right, so yeah, I think that this is a good thing. Jeremy, what was the part of it that you didn't like?
It said something. It said like you would have to comply with the laws of the state of the person buying it. So, say somebody from New York was in town visiting family and was like, "Oh, that's been looking for one of those guns forever, and I haven't been able to find one." And I go to sell it to him, but it's illegal in New York.
I can actually understand that a lot.
Like, do I have to worry about?
I think that is the current law, is it not?
Size? I can't sell Sean a handgun that's got more than 15 rounds in the magazine.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That would technically be illegal.
I think that's
dumb.
Yes, it's dumb.
And that's not how it is today, right? Like if they come in to your store to buy a rifle, and you can buy a rifle from another state, from an FFL in another state, you don't have to go look up their local laws of where their address is or anything. You just sell it to them.
I could sell a rifle to anybody from New York, right? I could sell an AR to anybody from New York right now. I'm allowed to sell it to any U.S. citizen. I can sell them a rifle no matter what state they live in, no matter what they have to know their laws when they take it home. It's not on me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree that's a lot of that's to put on the person.
Yeah, we all agree.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't think it's a big deal.
You don't think it's a big deal for the government to mandate something that could change?
No, I don't think it's a big deal that the FFL can't look it up and say, okay, you can't have this. You know, if it became law, make your own little scrapbook.
It's go look up through 50,000 pages of gun laws.
Yeah. Well, what about the California?
Through 50 states.
Like, what about California or New Jersey? Like, good luck understanding that.
No, sell it to people from California or New Jersey. Sell it to the other 48 states. You got a lot of options there.
I see. So just don't sell it to states that you don't feel like learning about the laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's up to him, but he opens up the market to 48 other states, and that's pretty good.
I disagree.
So according to the NRAblog.com, let's see here. Where does the sentence start? A person, the transferee acquiring a long gun, must do so through a licensed dealer or FFL. It can be an FFL in any state. The transfer must comply with the laws of the FFLs and the transferee's states.
Oh, all right. So I guess that's how it is right now. You're right.
It's still dumb.
Yes,
I agree.
We all agree it's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? You shouldn't sell.
But where's the onus? Does it say where the onus is?
On both, it says that the transfer must comply with the laws of the FFL and the transferee states.
So you have to. It says that you're supposed to comply by both states.
So I can get if I'm unaware of a goddamn law.
Yes,
correct.
I agree.
Well, yes,
I agree. All right, next story.
Are we sure we're done with that one?
I can still pick a Jeremy's scab here if you want.
Yeah. No. Going back on a little bit of downer news, but I think it could ultimately be some upper news. So Maura Healey, who has been the AG of Massachusetts for a while, has been an absolute royal see you next Tuesday when it comes to gun laws. And so she's decided to start reinterpreting her own gun laws in that state. And unfortunately, she's interpreted, what assault rifle is, what AR-15 is, and what copies, quote unquote, of said banned rifles are, because there's an assault weapons ban there in Massachusetts. So unfortunately, the First Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with her. They wrote that they said a couple really stupid things here. So according to court filings, nearly 5 million Americans, or 1% of Americans, own semi-automatic assault weapons, though I'm probably betting that it's significantly higher than that. So there's already been precedent back when you go back to Satano, or Catano versus Massachusetts, when they ruled that 250,000 stun guns actually qualified as being in common use. And so the argument that Maura Healey and the anti-gunners were trying to make is that assault weapons are not in common use and used for self-defense. It says here that the court record wrote that that it's sparse as to their use for self-defense, and conclude that Healy's ban does not heavily burden the core right of self-defense in the home, which, ultimately taking away one of the most perfect firearms for self-defense in the home is absolutely burdening that core right. So the courts in the First District Court of Appeals sided with Maura Healey. Ultimately, I don't think it matters because it's going to get kicked up to the Supreme Court at this point. Gun Owners Action League is the one who's pushing this legislation, and they said in this article that they have not decided whether to appeal it or not. I think they should, mostly because right now we are seeing very good signs from the Supreme Court that they are very pro-gun friendly. So I hope that Goal will actually push forward with this.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. I can't stand any of them, though.
True dat, homie.
Yeah.
True dat.
Word.
Other cool news, I'd like to take this one on. So Defense Distributed has been known for distributing, obviously, a number of different 3D printable files online. Not too long ago, they released a 3D printable Glock 17 frame, and I think they were working on a 19 frame. Both would be compatible, I want to say would be compatible with Polymer 80's rail inserts, and I think they were trying to come up with their own so they'd have a couple different versions available. But now, coming up on May 9th, they're going to be coming out with what they're labeling Freeman's Ghetto Blaster. Now you can blat with your gat. It is a Tech 9/AB10 polymer lower frame that as long as you can buy the Tech 9's parts kits, which would be the upper receiver, the barrel, bolts, and the guts, you could assemble this. And it also accepts Glock magazines, which I think makes it really freaking cool. You can watch their video. It's a little bit seizure-inducing, but it's definitely very shocking.
Yeah, why the is it so... Yeah, it's like watching a John Woo movie.
Right? It's like it's all shaky cam, and then it's flashy and. But yeah, I mean it's cool. I'm glad that they're coming out with more and more designs as things go on. This is ultimately the democratization of firepower.
Yeah, this is actually kind of cool. I wonder how.
Savage wants money from somebody else's hard work. Where's my royalty check?
What?
Because they used his name.
They used my username.
Yeah, good point.
Like a commie.
How much would a Tech 9 upper cost?
Dude, royalty check. It doesn't get any more capitalist than that, you dumbass.
Yeah, but you're wanting someone else spending money. Else's hard work.
You're
stealing wealth. Joke, you little redistributed in socialist.
They're benefiting off of his good name.
Damn it! How much would a Tech 9 upper be?
That's a good question. I think that's around. I mean, I don't even know if they have parts kits. I'm sure they do out there from old broken ones because obviously they weren't the most high quality firearms. But I mean,
Oh man, I worked on one time that somebody had dropped on the charging handle, and the charging handle also locks the bolt in place. It works as the bolt hold open. Right. So it had just basically jammed the charging handle through the slot on the other side of the receiver and gotten stuck.
That sounds fun.
All right, cool. So Tech 9.
I think we'll round out with this last one. I literally got emailed by Steven Stambolia not 10 minutes before the show started, and he sent me this story about his lawsuit. It comes from ammoland.com. So basically Hawaii, very close to Massachusetts in their shitty laws. So they have this current law on the books that says that anybody who wants to own a firearm has to so they have to register in Hawaii to be in the FBI's RAP Back Service database. And the RAP Back Service allows authorized agencies to receive notifications of activity on individuals, thus eliminating the need for repeated background checks on a person from the same applicant agency. So what a person has to do is they have to go in, they have to fill out this form, this permit or whatever, in order to be able to buy. They have to give their fingerprints, and they have to pay a fee. Well, Steven Stambolia filed this lawsuit because it has been coming to light that Hawaii has not actually been registering anybody at least for the last couple of years, through the wrap back FBI system. They've just been accepting these forms, accepting the payment, and doing nothing with them. So I think it would be a great opportunity for a lot of Hawaiians to sue the out of their state for basically defrauding them from their money and basically engaging in a registration system, honestly. So I think this is a good thing. I really hope this goes forward, and I want to see Stephen kick some ass out there.
Nice. Aaron, you had a story.
Yeah, Michigan, man, we're being pretty progressive with our gun laws. If this passes, which so the House and the Michigan House, Michigan Senate is very Republican. However, we do have a Democratic governor, so we'll see how this plays out. However, we're pushing new gun laws, which would be a constitutional carry here in Michigan. We would also offer some less fines if you accidentally carry your firearm where you're not supposed to, taking it from a felony to a misdemeanor, which is pretty slick.
That's how it is in Colorado.
Yeah, and one of the big things, too, is we can open carry in schools. We can't conceal carry. However, if you get a special – we talked about this in the past of getting a special concealed carry permit to be able to carry in places where you're not allowed to carry normally, schools, churches, hospitals, yada, yada, sporting events. But this would actually just be for Leos only. But it would be nice if to know that they would – or retired Leos, excuse me. Would be able to do this, which is pretty slick. So Michigan's being pretty progressive with the gun laws, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's cool. It even says in this picture
Is that what you appreciate about me?
I appreciate about you, Jeremy, is your sense of humor, your style, your wit, and your overbearing ability to talk very close to people and scare the hell out of them.
Yeah, trying to talk to people when Jeremy's around is really irritating because he just slowly gets closer and closer to them, and then all of a sudden you're just staring at Jeremy's back.
Right, it is because he can't hear, but it's also the scariest thing ever.
We should get Jeremy some hearing aids.
Yeah.
You should get him like that one that screws into your head.
You should just give him hearing aids.
No, that's what I was thinking. What are you guys talking about?
I will turn a screw into his head. Just.
Oh no, I thought we were giving him an STD.
Oh, we could do that.
In the ear.
We could his head.
All right, cool. Well, Michigan, hey, that's cool.
That's not full-blown AIDS. It's just hearing HIV.
Right, exactly. But don't forget, Aaron, that registration leads to confiscation.
So I hear. I haven't seen it, but I heard it.
That one time.
All right, this is where Jeremy reads the iTunes reviews, and this is brought to you by SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. Check them out at sdi.edu if you're interested in learning more about guns, degree program. If you're a veteran, you've got Jeremy, what's it called? Oh, he left.
What, the GI Bill?
GI Bill, thank you. If you've got GI Bill to use and you want to use it on something gun-related, there you go. There you have it, sdi.edu. Jeremy, go ahead and read those reviews, buddy.
Flashback by HBird23. Love the show. Keeps me entertained while I'm driving. I've been listening to older shows, mid-2014, and heard Jeremy talk about wanting a wife and kids, and I thought about calling in and telling him he was going to be a dad in 2019, but decided not to spoil it for him. I don't get it.
He was listening to a show from 2014 where you said you wanted a family, and he was going to call into the show and tell you that you're going to be a dad and married.
He was going to call into the past.
Yeah.
And spoil it for you.
It's funny, Jeremy. Just move on.
I missed it. One question. What's your recommendation for a scope for a Rutgers 1022?
Rutgers?
That's a football team or a college, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primary us is plinking and squirrel hunting.
So let's see.
I've killed plenty of squirrels with my BB gun. I don't know if you need a 1022 for that.
I killed a raccoon with a BB gun once. Well, I just shot it in the head a bunch so it lost its balance and fell off the side of the barn. And then the two dogs jumped up and grabbed it by the head and the ass and pulled it in half.
I don't know if I like these stories anymore.
No. So Primary
He's going to
Arms.
be a great dad.
I was 9.
Primary Arms makes I think it's a 1-to-4 that has a reticle that's set up specifically for 22 long rifle, which is kind of a handy little setup.
Yeah. So I have a Vortex Crossfire 2 that's specifically set up for my 22 LR. It's the rimfire. It's the 2-7x32 rimfire, and I actually really like that one.
I actually think I got a old Savage that basically lives in the barn. And, well, you're a different kind of Savage. And I forgot what, I think I got it for free from somebody that was just like, do you want this? And I was like, yeah, sure. So it lives in the barn, and I pulled a scope off one of those, like, oh, buy this rifle, and it comes with the worst scope possible. I think I pulled it off of that and just put it on there.
Nice.
I think it's Mossberg branded.
Yeah, the Vortex that I have is like $100. You can find it pretty much.
Yeah, this one's not great.
Yeah, I like the one I have. I've been pretty happy with it. I haven't shot it a ton, but I know Vortex. I like Vortex. It's cheap and it's made for rimfire.
Yeah. More intros by Jeremy by Lizard Lips Larry. 5 stars. Great podcast. Basically just a gun podcast from the host of America Dad. Jeremy is Stan, who is emotionless because his father left him at a young age. Sean is Steve because he cries basically every episode.
Shut the f*** up.
Aaron is Roger because
I want to be Roger.
He would like to partake in man-on-man butt stuff.
Savage wants to do that.
I changed my answer.
Savage is Jeff because he is always high and Jeremy has such hatred for him. Everyone should take a listen. It's fun for the whole family. Oh, yeah, and Nick is... Everyone always forgets about him / doesn't care about him.
Nick is Klaus.
You know, I was actually, when you started reading, I was like, I'm probably Klaus. I'm all right with that.
Wait, is that the old man?
No, it's the fish.
Oh, okay.
The Nazi fish.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Is he a Nazi fish?
Yes.
I guess I haven't watched enough.
Wait.
Okay, I guess I'm not okay with being Klaus then.
Whatever,
You
no take backs.
ruined...
Go ahead, Jeremy.
You ruined Charlie Brown Christmas. What? You ruined Christmas, Charlie Brown.
Jesus.
What? Isn't it Charlie Brown Christmas? Or
I
you ruined Christmas. I don't know. Whatever. It's what he put. You ruined Christmas, Charlie Brown, by Pigpen. 5 stars. Everything I learned about Christmas, I learned from J-Paz. My problem with a Charlie Brown Christmas was that they point out it is not buying gifts and helping the economy, keeping people at their jobs and food on the table, but about love and being a good person. Good people don't make the world work. Good people are children who still yell about how the world is not fair. Don't be a commie. Love the show. I will list an order of people who make the show great. Jeremy, I think I covered everyone. If you want to be like my favorite cast member, just start breathing heavy, spit a lot, and sound angry all the time. Love you.
It's funny because this person's name is Pigpen, so he's apparently basically just Jeremy.
Yeah. Except Jeremy doesn't write with that many typos, I don't think. All right, thank you, Pigpen. Next.
That 70s Show by Eric F. 5 stars. This show is a lot like That 70s Show. Someone is always high. Someone really has no idea what is going on, like Fez, Nick. You have a mom like Fugger. Mom like a figure, I think he did?
I think so.
Probably.
Oh, you have a mom like figure. How is a nurse, Sean? You have the star of the show always trying to do the right thing, Aaron. You have the angry dad who yells all the time, Jeremy. Keep it, folks.
All right, I was fine until he said this. Always trying to do the right thing. Aaron, have you ever done the right thing?
I mean, I've done the thing, right? Yeah, but I mean, not on purpose. Like the right thing happens all the time for me. It wasn't like intentional. It just like happened to be.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, thanks to all those people who left a review. And listen, I hit the table, and I think I scared Nick, but it's okay. Listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna put the camera directly.
Oh, God.
I love when you do that.
No, it's horrible.
If you haven't left us a review, leave us one, either on Facebook or iTunes, anything. And definitely we'll get Jeremy to read it.
I just have this impulse to reach over and slowly poke you in the eye. And I don't know why.
Or don't. We're not your dad. Like,
Yeah.
do what the hell you want.
Yeah, but Jeremy has to read them, and I think that's always fun. And he really loves typos, too. So
And Jeremy doesn't have a dad, so, good for his dad.
figure that out. Anyway.
I have a dad. He's just in a hole in the ground.
Dig him up, see if he's still there. I bet you find he's not.
Dig him up
Did I ever
and
tell
tell.
you the story about when? Do we ever tell you the story about when we moved him?
Yes.
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 Yes, you did.
Hey, dig him up and tell us what his tastes like.
Dust, probably.
Oh, no, that's a show
God.
That was wait. I can't say autistic screeching, but you can
No.
say that. I just want to make sure we're on the same
Cannot
page
say
here.
that. All right. Hold on. I'm going to pass out. Okay, I'm okay. You can go to a website. It's Love WL. You know what? That. Go to Love WLS. LUVW. Okay, we'll tell it at the end of the show. LUVWLS.com. You could do it. Right, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. You can go there. Holy shit, man. I'm like suffering from oxygen deprivation from laughing so hard.
I'm sure it's not because you're fat.
Okay. Shut the fuck up, Aaron. You, Jeremy, you breathe like a 90-year-old man with emphysema.
I know. What's up with that? You are the loudest breather I have ever heard.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's like every breath makes you angry.
Every breath you take.
All right, Love WLS. There's 4 things you can do there. You can find all kinds of cool We Like Shooting swag, like this monogram shirt, like that hoodie. And that's it. And maybe very soon, even these hats that we're wearing with the WLS monogram. You can find our advertisers' links to their websites and all their coupon codes. You can become a rooftopper, share links to your favorite podcast. That's us. Every time someone clicks it, you get points, and the points turn into swag. You can become a Patreon, support the show, get access to the Patreon-only Facebook group, and Patreons also get to download the podcast, which is in our regular feed, along with We Like Shooting and Double Tap. It's all available. LUVWLS.com. Oh, man, I'm still like a little bit shaky just from not being able to breathe for a second.
I'm having a hard time seeing because my eyes are watering so hard from laughing.
I know. So join a gun-related advocacy group.
Yeah. Ask the guest about their state.
What? Oh, yeah, thanks. Like GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, Firearms Policy Coalition, we just actually released in our main feed today. We got together with Kurt from Blue Alpha Gear and Nick and myself, and we had a special guest, Ron C., to tell us about his experience at the member meeting. And we laid down everything that kind of has been going on with the NRA. We were able to find all the data out there, and Nick did a really fantastic timeline of it, and we talk about it. It's called The NRA Under Fire. It's in our main feed. You can find it also at welikeshooting.com/show. And let us know what you think of that. We are normally, like Nick was saying today, he's like, this is really cool. You know, we're like entertainers in comedy, but it's good to do something that's good for the community, and I think that this definitely is.
Yeah, Chris G in our live chat says that we should recommend that people request a copy of the NRA bylaws as well.
I did today.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're going to send me out. Just go to nramembers.org or just NRA and go to the live chat, and you'll need your NRA membership number, and they'll send you a copy of the bylaws. It's very, very easy. Ken M. said it was outstanding, so thank you very much for that. And thanks for driving that, Nick. You did a good job.
Oh,
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Ah, shucks.
You didn't even know what to say for a minute. We always give out the suicide prevention line. That number is 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-TALK, or you can text 741-741 if you need that. J.C. Schaefer said, Sean, you're sexy. I know, girl. I hope that's a girl. I don't know if it is.
It's not.
It's not. It's I know exactly who it is. In fact, Savage has met you, I think. Or he's met Savage.
Schaefer?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the name. We're not going to say the whole name. We don't want to dox him. I know, dude. I know you're a dude. I get it. But if you're going to, like, tell me I'm sexy, I'm going to pretend like you're a girl. $20 is $20.
Yeah, he literally lives like 5 minutes from my house.
He's probably in your backyard right now.
I hope so.
Dude, that would be so... Oh, God. Run, dude. He's about to shoot you with a gun to the pores with a cheap-ass Savage modified magazine.
It's okay.
Actually, he has really good guns.
We'll tell everyone it was a high point.
It's okay. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, guys. We're here live every single week on Monday and Wednesday night, on demand every single day. Go to welikeshooting.com/show to subscribe. Thanks to our guest, AWR Hawkins, for being here. Appreciate that. Have we ever had anyone with a PhD on the show before?
I don't know.
We've had lawyers on the show. Doesn't that count?
Friend's PhD or an actual PhD?
An actual PhD.
No.
Jeremy, what'd you say?
I have a PhD.
No, you don't.
No, a pretty hard.
I do. I mean, I'll club you with it.
No. All right.
I'm really not worried. It's not that big.
Thanks for listening. Get some medical training and shoot straight. All right.
And don't forget, call 811 before you dig.
They're doing more work at the range?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They put what's it called? K13. It's like a spray foam on the walls between installing the trap, and it's supposed to cut reverb down. It sounds completely different in there.
Oh, that's
sweet.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Are you able to be open on Sundays yet?
Oh, yeah, I've been open on Sundays we only closed down for 2 Sundays. My lawyer wrote a very nice letter.
Good lawyer.
And by very nice letter, I mean a letter.
That was not nice.
Good. All right. Let's see.
Did you think that show was worth $1? Help the cast by visiting lovewls.com.